And maybe I could just provide for the end two examples that I have for SMEs today that are committed to CO2 neutrality, to carbon neutrality. There is one that is a Belgium that is in the construction works area. So them, for example, they have been interested into getting in that CO2 neutrality commitment because they have heard that the competitor has been already involved in that one, and they have heard about the CO2 neutrality of different big companies. And in fact, big companies are influencing more and more the SMEs in their commitments. They were quite new on that topic, so it has been a step-by-step approach. With first doing the first carbon footprint calculation, being able to highlight the fact that in fact it was not really related to the energy consumptions of the building, but more on the car fleet. So it has been the opportunity to explain to them if there is only one action to implement that year, it should be about car fleet management. And it has been the opportunity to discuss about total cost of ownership versus acquisition cost, for example, in order to, in fact, to show that, let's say, a greener alternative in, related to company car was not this 40% higher that you can see if you are only looking to the acquisition cost, but it was more about 5 to 10% more. So the effort was a bit more acceptable if we were discussing, if we were looking at that issue in this way. And we had another company that is in France for that one, a little bit bigger, more than 300 people, but still a SME. And for them, it was quite different. They have discovered, in fact, that their delivery supplier was CO2 neutral. So they would like to understand at this stage what it means for them in terms of carbon impact or carbon accounting. And so they have asked to perform a first carbon footprint, and we have in fact performed a double exercise, one for the real carbon footprint without taking into account any offsetting from the suppliers, and then another accounting in order to understand what they will have to offset, so to globally reduce or sequestrate in order to reach their CO2 neutrality themselves, and taking into account the fact that some of their CO2 emissions were already offset by suppliers. So it was really interesting for their supplier to put this argument in the discussions. And that was a real marketing differentiator element compared to the other competitors. They have understood the priority that they have to implement, and they have also decided to get CO2 neutral. But for them, it was a little different because they are. This is an e-commerce platform, and they are quite influenced by some commitments from Microsoft, for example, or Google. And they have seen that these big companies have taken more ambitious commitments by, in fact, getting CO2. I think it's CO2 negative or CO2 positive. I don't remember the exact wording, but the idea is to support projects, global projects that are going to avoid or to sequestrate the same amount of CO2 emission that they have emitted since their creation. So in fact, it's not only for 1 year of activity, but it's from the beginning of the activities. And even SMEs are doing that now. This is not yet a common approach. It's quite innovative today, but it's beginning. So it's really starting. And so since 3-4 years now, since the Paris Agreement, I would say that there is a huge dynamic related to the climate change commitments from SMEs too. And that's something very important, in fact, because we really need these SMEs to get committed into climate action, because SMEs are almost the real economy, in fact, and we really need them in that approach. And that I think that now that they are mature enough to go. So that they really look for companies like CO2 Logic, but there are other ones. And I really see now that there are more and more initiatives in order to assist specifically SMEs now, maybe to maybe create more collective approach too, because it can make sense for SMEs to get together in a specific pool. And I think that you are going to have a presentation from Bessie from Camille Cannon's within a few minutes, hours. But today in this event, that is an example, for example, of how you could gather actors together in order to be more ambitious and more relevant and more efficient in terms of climate action.